So I realized talking about mainstream celebrities isn't really in my realm, as I focus more on talking about influencers and people doing dumb stuff for clout. But what happened to Zayn Malik is so insane that I felt like we just kind of had to talk about it here. If you don't know who Zayn Malik is, I relate to you because I didn't either until this whole situation, but apparently he was a part of One Direction. I know who One Direction is because that's what basically every single female in my class growing up obsessed about. But apparently in the last 6 years, Zayn has gotten together with a model, Gigi Hadid. They've had a kid and things were going okay until Gigi Hadid's mother entered the picture. That's where everything turned weird, to say the least. So Gigi Hadid's mother is named Yolanda. Yolanda is known for being a trophy wife and on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And she's the reason I'm covering this whole situation because she is pretty much the definition of insanity. So from what I can gather, Zayn and Gigi have agreed to not have their kid in the limelight. So they do not post any pictures of them. And genuinely, the parents have just kept the kid away from the limelight as much as possible. Yolanda, who's Gigi's mom and the child's grandmother, she's been aware of this. Yet, Yolanda decided to F around and find out what was gonna happen by posting a bunch of pictures of the granddaughter to the internet. Because I guess she just wanted the clout and attention. So naturally, that upset Zayn, and that started the entire conflict that we're covering today. This is also the part of the video where I'm gonna have to start saying allegedly, because it was a he said, she said situation, and no one except for the people involved truly know what actually happened. So Zayn, being deeply upset with the fact that Yolanda would post pictures of their kid on the internet, he started to have a resentment for her. He was disgusted with her, and allegedly they got into a shouting match because of this. But the part that I'm most skeptical about is the main headline saying that Zayn struck Yolanda. And first of all, it's important that Zayn denies this claim completely. But some backstory on Yolanda, apparently she's just been known for being a terrible mother. She's been filmed plenty of times endorsing disordered eating. Furthermore, not to drag Yolanda, but she's on her third marriage. I saw someone saying how Yolanda's already ruined her own relationships, so now she's on her way to just ruin her daughter's relationships. And that's not saying like, oh, if you're on your third marriage, that means all people are like that, but with these people, it seems to check out. From what little I've gathered about her, it seems like she's a toxic and selfish mother. And since this whole family feud has brought out to the limelight, it's now been known that apparently Gigi and Zayn have split. But what's really interesting about all of this is all of this went to court. And this is where it like really surprised me, because apparently in the whole shouting match, Zayn called Yolanda a Dutch
nice lady.
And that ended up getting him in trouble with the law. I am so confused in how that happened. But this is what Zayn's public statement was. In an effort to protect the space from her, I agreed to not contest claims arising from an argument I had with a family member of my partner's who entered our home while my partner was away several weeks ago. Now this is kind of interesting because Zayn claims that the altercation took when Gigi's mother entered their home while Gigi was not there. First of all, just barging into anyone's home, even if it's your own daughter's home, especially if your own daughter is away, it's a little unsettling. But this also makes me think that no one probably witnessed whatever happened. I'm not saying that Yolanda is lying, but if she was lying, she probably knows that her daughter would probably take her side. Plus, with no one else around, I mean, it's pretty much impossible to prove if this even happened to begin with. At least as of right now, it doesn't seem that there's any evidence of this. But what's insane about all this is Zayn was charged with 4 instances of harassment, according to citation records and a mail-in plea records. So a family member enters his property and they yell at each other and he gets charged with harassment. What? What is going on here? Why is that a thing? Why is this man being charged with harassment when she barged into his home and started yelling? But apparently Zayn was accused of saying, end quote, lewd, lascivious, threatening, or obscene words to Yolanda Hadid, Gigi Hadid, and John McMahon, who's been identified as a security guard. So a security guard is pressing charges against Zayn Malik because he was called mean things. Daniel, my editor, used to work as a security guard. I'm like 100% sure that this man's been called mean things working as a security guard. I would pretty much say that's pretty much a part of the job description.
Yeah, kind of do. Also, first day at a job as a bouncer, I got slapped. Good times.
Why is this man, as a security guard, pressing charges because apparently he called him some mean stuff? I am so where's freedom of speech? We live in America. This should be Zayn Malik's right to call Yolanda a Dutch
nice lady
if he wants to. I am so confused. Also, just putting the women aside who are like pressing charges on, I guess, for him calling them mean names. Just the fact the security guard saying like, you called me mean things too. Like, why? Like, why as a man are you legally documenting another man calling you names? But as I mentioned earlier, Zayn is also accused of physically harming Yolanda, with one citation saying that Zayn grabbed and shoved her into a dresser, causing mental anguish and physical pain. Now, obviously, those actions are not acceptable whatsoever. But in Zayn's mail-in plea, he wrote NOLO, which is short for nolo condentare, or no contest. However, a court employee changed that from no contest to guilty, because apparently he can't mail in a no contest. So why did they just change it to guilty? I don't know. The whole thing is just so weird, but at the end of it, he ended up getting 90 days of probation for every single count, meaning 360 days of probation because he essentially called his mother-in-law a Dutch
nice lady
legend. But still, like, what? Why is he getting a year of probation for calling someone something that could arguably be true? But also, like, he's just calling her name. I'm so confused here. This should be a private matter. This is a family that is trying to literally just ruin itself. Do you think that's good for the daughter that the father now has to be on probation for a year? No. This is like a 4th grade classroom. He called me mean things. Like, what is going on here? Was it Drake that said, being rich means that you can afford to be dramatic? Yeah, that's definitely true in this case. But Zayn's final statement on this was and still should be a private matter, but it seems for now there's divisiveness, and despite my efforts to restore us as a peaceful family environment that will allow me to co-parent my daughter in a manner in which she deserves, this has been leaked to the press. I honestly agree with him. Like, this should have just stayed private. I have no idea how this man caught a case for calling someone names. It's just unfortunate. It's so weird though. That's why I wanted to talk about it, because it make no sense. I just can't wrap my head around calling someone a name and getting probation. That's the least American thing that's happened in America this year. Or maybe that is the most American thing, because only in America will you hear about people suing people for calling people names. We are a nation that loves lawsuits, but I thought we were a nation that loved freedom of speech more. So the future is definitely going to be interesting. But hey, that's my take on it. What's yours? Please let me know in the comments down below. Free my man Zayn. He ain't done nothing wrong. But other than that, if you're new here, welcome to my channel. It'd be awesome if you subscribe. Drop a like on today's video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.